Hi, this is a quick painting of a cottage and its barn in midwinter, very much along the lines of the previous one. This one, as you can see, has more trees and we also have sky. So we'll start off by putting the sky in. So I'm going to take my number 4 pointed mop, plenty of water, and dampen, wet the paper where I want my sky to be. I've got vertical lines to show where I'm going to put trees. So I actually want the sky to come down to that hillside there in that place and then go up. You can have it, I'm going to probably do a stormy sky. So make sure it's nice and wet. And then with the same brush, go into the Payne's Grey and put in some grey, just to going right down to the. And before this dries, before the Payne's Grey dries, just need to drop in a little bit of raw sienna at the bottom of the clouds. And I think I may have left mine too long. Just put in a little bit there. It now looks like there's a storm coming over the hill. And that will dry into a fairly nice sky. I'm just going to soften those edges slightly with the brush so that we don't have hard edges. I think that's it. All the rest are nice and soft, I think. So that's my sky. And we'll leave that to dry. And in the meantime, we'll put in the cottage. So again, I'm using the raw sienna. And I'm going to just block in around the windows and around the snow, which is formed in drifts. I'm going to change brush because that's too much of a hard work. I'm just blocking it in. It's only going to be a light wash to start off with, but we can go over it with another 2 or 3 washes, no problem. We've also got the end wall, which would be the one with the sunshine. Then we've got the barn. So that's blocked in there. And again, the barn wall. I'm going to take my pen and just scratch down to show the wood panels of the house and the barn. And then I'm going just to let that dry for a while. Whilst that is drying, I'm going to paint these fence posts here. So again, Payne's Grey, starting at this end, just gently put in some posts. They don't go all the way round. There's some missing. And then this end, they're slightly larger because they're closer to us. And they're going to go down a hollow there. So they're going to go smaller as it goes on. And lower until it's just a dot. we join them up. Again, don't join them all. Have some with broken bits. And some that's just a post on their own. These are a little bit more looked after this end. That's it. That's all we have to do. And then they just aren't there anymore when we get to the middle. I then take, this is a number 1, and I just agitate the bottom of those fence posts, following the line, just pull in a little bit of paint so that it makes it look as if it's dirty snow underneath. And it makes it look as if it's going down into a hollow. And the same with this, the bottom of these. If not enough paint's coming off, as in this case here, I just put a tiniest bit, she says, quick, tiniest bit of Payne's grey to give it the idea that it's the shadow of the fence, it's all the bits and pieces that grow under and grow through the snow. So that's, we've done that. I can just join that up. It makes it, yeah. At some point there was something here. So the next point is to check our sky and see how that's doing. I think, I'm not supposed to do this, but I think that that is dry. So I am going to do this tree here, and I do it exactly the same as we did before. We're going to wet it, and I'm using the number 7 round brush for that. Wet where that tree goes. So keeping it on the hill line there, and just wet that. Then add a little bit of mauve on this one, I think, and drop some colour into it. Plenty of colour. Let it bleed out a bit. Pull a bit up into the water that's on the paper, and just drop a little bit of Payne's grey in the bottom, just to give it some colour of the weeds and other stuff that's growing there. I'm just going to pull that up just slightly. That's it. I'm going to do the next one now, the next tree, hoping that my sky is dry enough. So that's wet the paper. I'm going to really let these two run together, but I'm going to have a different colour. I'm going to have red on that one. And see that they've sort of run together. Make it look as if they're no straight lines, and then a little bit of Payne's grey in the bottom of that one. just along the hedge line there, and you can extend that down. And then with my scratching device, just put in a few twigs to give it some structure, and that's those two done. We've got 6 to do behind this house, and I'm going to do this end, then the middle, and then back out in the hopes that the others are dry. So I start off at the left where I put the vertical line, plenty of water, drop in some colour. It might be pink on this one. Perhaps lift it up, let it move a bit. Then a bit of Payne's grey at the bottom, only just a little. Again, let it move. Let it bleed up into the pink. Then with your scratching device, just scratch a few twigs. That's that one. So we move on to this end here. Hopefully that sky's dry enough to enable us to do it. I'm going to have a red one at this end. So drop the colour in. Lift it up, let it bleed. While it's up there, put some Payne's grey in the bottom, and that will then go up 2. Just give it a poke if it's not. And then I just scratch. Scratch some twigs in. Now I'm going to do this side. In fact, I'm going to do these two together. So keeping away from the cottage roof. And I've just got a little bit on it, and because that's snow, I don't want any colour on it. So I've wet it. I have some of the mauve, I think. And put some mauve on that side. And some pink on this side. Let it move a bit. A little bit of Payne's grey, not too much, just on the I've got excess water there, so I'm just blotting off my brush and just picking. I'm going to use a bit of tissue just to I'm pushing the colours out, and then I'm going to scratch in The two colours have merged on there, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, got one to fill in here and one there, and we're done with the trees. So carefully, keeping away from the ones that we've just done as much as you can. Fill this one in, wet this, goes under the roof there and up. And I'm going to put some red in here. And then a little bit of Payne's grey down the bottom. And scratch twigs in. And the last tree goes in between the pinks and the orangey coloured one. The pink's gone a bit wishy-washy, so I'm just going to give it an extra bit of colour. So wet the paper in the middle there, keeping well away from the roof where the snow's going to be. And going to take some of the red, some of the raw sienna, just to give it a bit of a different flavour, more of an orangey flavour for this one. Just drop the colour in. A little bit of Payne's grey down the bottom. Pull it up at just a little. That red one I did there has just dried too. So I'm just going to put a little bit more colour on it. And we'll then find the scratchy thing. Put the tree trunks in. And that is that for the trees. I'm just giving this one a bit more definition. And this one. Sometimes they bleed out to nothing. And join those up. Okay, so we've got cottage windows. We've got a bit of a fence here, and we also need to make a shadow in the snow line. So with a clean, just damp brush, pour the paint along that ridge there. Pick it up as much as you can and pull it down to make a shadow. Then blend that into the snow. bring it down to make it look like a hill. It's coming down into a dip. We've got, there we are. And we can do the same under these trees here. So it's clean water. Just pick up the colour. Got too much water. Pick up the colour and you can take it just underneath the house, just to give it the idea that it's the colour, the shadow, the colour's reflected off of there. The house at the front and the barn are in shadow, so I just picked up a little bit of Payne's grey, make a long shadow for the barn, and then a long shadow for the house. Extend it out and then blend it a little, just to blend it out so that you can't see too much of a line. Give it a bit of a blot just to break up that line. We need to paint a little bit of a shadow line underneath the eaves on both end walls of the house and the barn. So a bit of Payne's grey underneath. Just go underneath where the snow is. Got some nice shadow there. And also, whilst you've got that little brush out, I'm going to do one dark window and one window with the light in, which I'm going to use raw sienna. We've got to darken up this wall and this wall of the house yet, but we can't do that just now. So whilst we're waiting for the house windows to dry, we'll put in some fences. There's some fencing down this line here, and hopefully it's dried enough not to disappear. So I'm just going down the hill with my fence posts. There's a bit more coming up the hill here. Just little fence posts, fiddly bits now. Carry on those fence posts down there. I'm not going to join them up there. They're broken. And a little bit of fence post in front of these two trees here, if it's dry enough. It seems to be just. Probably could have waited for a bit longer. Okay, so definitely we can put an extra wash of raw sienna on the barn because we haven't got windows to worry about. So that's on the long wall, the wall that's in the shade. And then we've got to do it on on this wall here. I'm being very careful not to pick up that blue. It won't hurt if you do, because it will just darken it a bit and it doesn't really matter. So we have got a darker wall in for there. And I think all that's left is to put some birds in. And then if you have got a white gel pen, I'll show you how to make the roof look more pillowy, covered in snow. So it's just a few birds flying around. A white gel pen this is mine. It's a uni ball. It's most useful. I'm just going to go over my top of my roof and just sort of bulk it out a bit so that it looks as if it's got heavy snow on it. And that actually gives it a bit of a texture too. And I've managed to cover up this line here, which should be snow, but always gets lost. So I'm just putting that back in and tidying up this line over the top of the roof. As you can see, I'm not straightening it, I'm just making it more curved. I've just made that so that you've got a big overhang of snow there. And just colour it in. You can put little dobs of white on top of the fence posts. That says, got snow on me. Don't have to do every one. And actually, I think we're probably done. Yeah, we're done. We'll sign that, and that's it for that one.